listening to rap music and listening to the different ways that artists are able to creatively arrange lyrics, vocals, and music in order to create different songs has been super inspiring to me to learn how to think about things at a deeper level. Because I know a lot of people consider rap music to be a bad genre of music. They consider it to be unholy. They consider it to have profane messages that incite violence, that incite drug use and sex abuse. And while all that is true, it's not true for every single song that's ever been produced by a rap artist. And so I tend to listen to Big Sean, J. Cole, um, Wale, Kendrick Lamar, and a lot of other artists that are like, I guess, lesser known by people who don't know what rap is. Um, and these artists, in my opinion, are people who are very inspired, they're very intelligent, and they're very creative. They're able to weave different concepts through their lyrics and their words. For example, I was just listening to Lil Wayne yesterday, and I think I was listening to this song called "Don't Cry" of his on his album. It's called the Carter Five, so it's like THA, the Carter Five, and I was blown away by like the metaphors and the little ways that he was conveying complex ideas with simple words. Like it was a song that made me think a lot and I was very introspective while listening to, and something I really appreciate. And it's like it's a talent that should never be that should never go unnoticed, in my opinion. The only reason why I say this, and this is like along with the title of the video, is how there are a lot of people these days that are jumping on this bandwagon of like the Andrew Tate, the following the Matrix, and or I guess leaving the Matrix and all that stuff. And while I don't doubt that what they're talking about is a real thing and it's true, the other question is what can you actually do about it? And the answer, I think, in short, is that you can only impact your own personal sphere of influence, and you can only do whatever God gives you the power to do. So that's not to be a limiting thought. That's meant to be like a realistic measure. Is that, well, actually, that's interesting. I say that because in one of Big Sean's songs, he says, um, finding out who's chosen. Hold on, give me a second to think about it. He says, um, to find out who's chosen, you need unrealistic measures. Basically, meaning that if you're above average and if you're exceptional as an individual, whatever normal rules apply to society, whatever normal standards are used to measure people will not be accurate in measuring yourself. I believe we all have the potential to have life changing impacts, whether it be in our own community, whether it be at large. I think God has put a special piece of a puzzle in each of us, and we're all supposed to come together to figure out the puzzle. More like, think of it like this: everyone has a puzzle, and each person's puzzle fits with another person's puzzle. So you have to spend time on your own figuring out your puzzle, and then once you're done with that, your whole puzzle becomes one piece for someone else's puzzle, for a community's puzzle. Who knows? The one thing that is constant about this life, about finding meaning and progress and fulfillment, is you have to include God in it. And if you do not, you won't make it that far. The Matrix, or the Illuminati, or whatever you want to call them, the way that they have figured out to maintain control over people is by altering the perception of what the consequences are for acting in your according to your carnal nature. So they'll take certain people who are easily manipulated and controlled. They'll elevate them to status. They'll give them the things that they carnally desire, and they'll make it seem as if the life that they're living is one that almost needs to be worshipped or desired or sought after. The life that they live is one that you will never attain unless, and then they make this perception and this false assumption that you have to do what they do in order to attain some kind of happiness in this life, and they've led a lot of people astray by that. They also they magnify and they broadcast every single like personal aspect of these people's lives to make us so distracted that we forget to do what we're called to the earth to do, which is impact our own personal sphere of influence. So I don't want to keep rambling for this long on this topic, but I think it's important everyone realize that you can be inspired, you can have an impact, and you can do whatever God gives you the power to do. So you have to ask yourself and ask God, what is God willing to give me in as far as like my own personal impact, my own personal legacy? Is he going to give me a platform? Is he going to give me a job opportunity? Is he going to give me a family? What sphere of influence will be mine? And not only what is he going to give me, what do I actually want? Because those two things have to coincide. God doesn't give that kind of stuff to someone who doesn't want it. He only gives it to people who really want it, who want to take what he's given them and add on to it and increase. Like me, for example, I really do desire to see God's kingdom on the earth. I desire to see everyone, every single soul on earth happy and blessed and prosperous. I understand that in order for God to allow my wishes to come true, he has to elevate me to a higher position of status, and that elevation of status will require sacrifice. And so I've been preparing, and I've been meaning to make more meaningful steps in that direction. And I wouldn't even say what's my best, I'm just doing what I am doing. And everything I do, I try and do it with the purpose of taking steps closer to that ultimate goal of being able to declare the gospel to all nations, all kindred, all tongue, everyone in all the corners of the earth. So I'm going to end the video on that note, but I want everyone listening to think, what is God trying to do through me? What do I want from God? And how can I make sure that those two things can become more in alignment, so that way when I do God's will, it's also my will. And when I do my will, it's also God's will. And I'll sign off on that.